Welcome to Tech Talk with Jared Yellin. I'm so excited to spend this time with you, our NASDAQ community, where we bring entrepreneurs that have been in tech, in the trenches of tech. They've had exits in tech, they invest in tech, and they might even advise in tech. And the man that I'm bringing to you today has done all of them. Like, he fits into every one of those buckets. And Jonathan Foltz has a track record. I mean, over 20 companies, 3 exits, heavily invested in tech, and the dude's not stopping. Like, he is accelerating forward in his career with this burning desire to create seismic impact. I've also had the pleasure of sitting on stage with him at really cool pitch events and watching him dissect entrepreneurs' pitches, helping them see what they don't see in their message and their story, because everyone is one pitch away from having everything they want more in life. So Jonathan's just helping them ensure that that moment for them is a moment they can make the most significant impact. So with that, let's take it away, my man Jonathan. Thank you for being here at 10X Studios, bro. Dude. Good to see you. Listen, when did you realize you were unemployable? I'm always curious. Like, you've had over 28 companies, is that right? 28?
Over 28, might be at 30 now.
30. So there was a point where you're like, I'm just unemployable. Like, there's just no way. When was that for you?
Dude, what's funny about this, Jared, is that I love this question. Because, like, I give it to a lot of people because I tell them exactly the process of what happened for me to become that person, okay? So, believe it or not, my first job was at Chuck E. Cheese, okay? And I was one of the guys that was the coaches and the tech. I was, for some reason, I always wanted to do tech, you know, any technical stuff. So I was in the tech area. I helped fix the games and stuff like that. They made me be Chuck E. Cheese one time. I did it. Wasn't a fan, okay? So secondary, it was a very busy day.
So you dressed as Chuck E. Cheese? Like
so I literally, they made me dress as Chuck E. Cheese, and despite it wasn't my job, okay? So with that being said, I was like, okay. I was like, all right, I did it. Not gonna do it again. And I remember it was a very busy day. It was one of the busiest days. I guess someone didn't want to be Chuck E. Cheese, and they told me, they're like, hey, Ed wants you to go be Chuck E. Cheese. And I'm like, I'm like, do you see how busy it is in here? I don't have time. You guys get somebody else. So I remember the point in time that, you know, Ed comes up and he's like, Jonathan, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm not being Chuck E. Cheese. I'm like, do you see how busy this is? You have 100 other people over here. I'm not gonna be Chuck E. Cheese. And I remember at that very moment, I was like, you know what, Ed? I'm like, I thought to myself, I'm like, I quit. So I was out. And I was literally one of the most audacious the most audacious workers that was freaking did everything in that place. I was one of the best workers that they had. Second job that I had was at Toys R Us. So at Toys R Us, it was funny that I was also in the tech department, basically with selling the video games and everything like that. There was a point in time where they did a sale, say they did a contest that allowed me to show that I can actually do something different, right? So what ended up happening is they were giving $10 bonuses to anyone that was selling these pre-sales. So I did such a good job on the first day that they thought I faked it, and they started blaming me. They're saying that I must have cheated. Because I sold basically $200 worth of them, and I dwarfed every other person in the whole entire Toys R Us. So they're like, you're cheating. And I'm like, I'm definitely not cheating. Like, I'm legitimately doing it. Second day comes around. Boom, I do the same exact thing. They literally take the contest away because I was killing the numbers so badly that they're like, we can't afford this anymore. Yeah. So at that point in time, one of the new general managers came in, and he came to me. He's like, look, you have to stay in your area. I'm like, look, I'm helping some people out. And I realized to myself, I'm like, you know, I'm one of the best employees here. I just killed it on a contest that they put in. They had to leave the contest. They blamed me for something that I was actually doing a really great job that they wanted to do. I quit that job, and at that moment in time, I told myself, there is no way I could work for anyone ever again. Yeah. Okay, so like that told me that it's like I have to go and do things on my own, because if I continuously go down this path, like I have to create something for myself.
So what was the first thing? What was your entrepreneurial like entry point?
So okay, so we're going to go back in time. Yeah. Okay, we're going back in time because in high school...
And then we'll fast forward, because you've had some exits, 28 companies. You're advising companies, investing in companies. You're doing huge things. What was that first entrepreneurial
So what led me to this is I got kicked off my basketball team, and I was completely destroyed because basketball was my life. And I went home that night, and I thought I wasn't good at anything. Like, I literally thought to myself, if I'm not good at basketball, what am I good at? So this is in high school. I believe it was 9th grade. And, you know, a lot of kids were basically making CDs, you know, we're putting covers on them, selling them to our friends for like $5 or something like that. so I got a hold of, I think it was the Marshall Mathers LP, okay? This is before the whole blowout came with the companies suing all Kazaa and Napster and everything. This is before all that happened. Little kids had no idea how this stuff worked. So the Marshall Mathers LP was coming out, and I thought to myself, I have the access to this CD. I don't know how in the world I got it. And I was like, okay, let me find out how I can create this CD for my friends in school, sell them for a little bit of money. I went to school. I took my whole book bag full of these CDs, sold every single one. The next day, every kid in school was selling the Marshall Mathers LP, and it was such a huge commotion that the principal of the school came on the speaker and said, guys, we can't be doing this in school anymore. This has become a huge problem. Please, guys, stop. And I thought to myself, I'm like, okay, I was able to create something out of nothing. So that's when my entrepreneurial gateway just opened up. And I'm like, okay, I can do this on my own. And then from there, I was always able to find like an opportunity to get myself to do something phenomenal. And I realized at that point in time, I'm actually good at something. Okay, like, hey, I can go down this entrepreneurial journey and do great things and whatever it is. You know
it's so liberating, right? Like when you know that you can create something out of nothing, you can then use your words to help people see a vision, and a vision they want to step into today. So they're willing to take out dollars, even if it was like $1 for the CD. Like for my version of that was I started this newspaper when I was in 4th grade. It was $1 for the year. There was four articles in the newspaper and 4 editions, and I sold it to everybody in the whole school. Like,
wow.
and I sold it before I wrote one line of content for the newspaper. So it really forced me to then go and create the newspaper. So I love stories like that. What's your proudest moment as an entrepreneur? You've had like big wins, like 3 exits, a public company buying one of your companies. Like that's a huge win. But what's like the thing that you're most proud of as an entrepreneur?
Oh, I mean, I think the thing that I would be most proud of is the growth that, first of all, because I believe a lot of stuff starts with yourself, right? So you really have to work with yourself. Like, you know, going through 28 companies, I've had a lot of failures, you know, and a lot of rough things have happened in my life. And having to overcome those things and continuously grow and fill my cup enough to be able to help others. So one of the things that I believe that I love, and like I love seeing other people succeed, you know. So one of the biggest things, I've had a lot of people that worked at our companies, and then I've had a lot of students in the past. Even some students that were under 18 years old that ended up becoming millionaires. So I think some of the most proud moments is like seeing, first of all, I had a guy named Mo that I was teaching about e-commerce. I had an e-commerce course because I did so well so quickly. I wanted to teach other people how to do it. And I saw a lot of these people weren't giving them the real juice of how things are in the entrepreneurial journey. Everyone's like, oh, it's all great. You have to do these. They never talked about something that I call the good, the bad, and the ugly. So I love to tell people like, hey, this is what you may come across. And seeing this 15-year-old kid, by the time he was 16 years old, make $1.5 million. That's
awesome.
Take care of his family, and literally like it's supporting his family. To me, that's like, I love seeing other people win. And when I see like these young entrepreneurs, young audacious ones, you know, like to me, I think those are some of the best and most memorable moments to help support other people and see them winning in life, and then also helping them fill their cup.
I love it. So let's talk about tech, right? So tech has played a huge role in your success in your life. When did you get involved with tech? Like, what was that initial step? Because you're non-technical, right? Like, you're like me.
I'm not even a technical guy.
Like, you know how to sell. You're really good at solving problems. You're able to convey that to more technically oriented people so they can begin to build it. How'd you get into tech?
So a name that I've taken on is the digital frontiersman, okay? Cool. And very similar to you, I'm not the most technical person. You know, I took a programming class. I didn't like it, but I wanted to learn how it worked. I took a designing class. I just wanted to learn the verbiage, you know, but that was not for me. Well, I'm not a coder. I'm not a developer. I cannot do that stuff. But what ended up happening, there was a couple books that I read. Okay, so one of the most fantastic books that I've ever read in my life that changed my perspective with a lot of things was The World is Flat by Thomas Friedman. Okay, there's updated versions. And it taught me that you can utilize people that are in certain fields from around the world at amazing prices, okay? So he's the one that taught me that the world is no longer, completely vertical. It is flat, and it's flattening as you see what's happening in the world, right? Like, we're hiring people from India, we're hiring people from Pakistan, we're hiring people from Venezuela, we're hiring people from all over the world now in a different way. And so I started a company called Digital Age Business, okay? And what we did is we used the resources from around the globe in a way of arbitrage and upping the value of what they're doing overseas by giving good service, making sure the design is good and everything like that. And as I started getting into digital age business, I just started getting a lot of different clients. And what stood out to me is that you can scale companies very quickly through technology and platforms. Yep. Okay, so there's something called the network effect. Okay, I don't know if you're familiar with the term. And there was a book that I read that was talking about the network effect and how fast things could scale in an exponential manner. And to me, when I started hearing about how this works, having this global vision for doing something amazing and big, it just blew my mind. And at that point in time, I was like, you know what, let's start working on developing some apps. So we started to develop some apps through our marketing agency. And then from there, I was like, okay, what else can we do from here? Like, we're helping people build their apps. We built a very similar platform to Uber, in a very closed area and per city. And then we thought of when blockchain technology came out, we got so excited about the potential of this technology that is decentralized, that can move so quickly. It's helping things like come at a better manner, come faster, and that's when we developed Pitch Investors Live.
That's awesome. Let's talk about it, because this is like, for the NASDAQ audience, like Pitch Investors Live is so cool, because the reason why NASDAQ approached me to even do the show was because there's all these investors that want to gain access to early stage entrepreneurs, some tech, some non-tech, but they just want to gain access. They want to know what's coming, like what's on the frontier. They want to get involved early. So I knew this about you. I'm excited that we got here now. Speak into it, because this was such a cool, and is such a cool platform. So how did it start? How did you scale it? And what problem are you solving with the platform?
So Pitch Investors Live was very similar to Shark Tank. It was an idea to go into a mobile device, but make it better. Like, so how can you make Shark Tank better? You guys are doing something amazing, with the incubator and the show that you guys have now. And we thought of the same thing, like, how do we help people from around the world be able to pitch investors from around the world? And as we were speaking a little bit earlier, it's like, how does a Nigerian programmer that's a genius get in front of a US-based investor? He can't in a normal setting. So it's like, okay, let's create a platform that is very similar to Shark Tank, together with Kickstarter, so you're able to raise money through the platform, and online dating, like Tinder, Bumble, these ones that you're basically doing the swipe features, which is extremely, addictive, first of all, and secondly, is very functional.
Yeah, totally.
So what we did is we brought all those technologies together, and we started getting a bunch of entrepreneurs pitching real investors on the platform. We even went as far as people were actually raising money on the pitch itself.
And you have like 10,000 entrepreneurs. In the
so
platform,
we got about 10,000 users. Maybe.
How did you do it? Because I love hearing the story of go-to-market and scale.
So how it started is that it started off very small. My business partner Matthew Lally, he started off basically with another company called Tulip, and it was a debate app, which he then started turning into Pitch Investors Live, which is such a phenomenal idea that when he told me he wanted to hire me, and he's like I need marketing help, because like one of the hardest things is I don't know how to get users. Like you want to know how you can get all these entrepreneurs on there. The idea was so freaking good that I'm like, I have to be part of this. Okay, like, forget freaking hiring me and being a marketer. Like, I'm not doing this unless I'm a co-founder, because this is too good, dude. This is too good. And I'm very excited about the blockchain space, and then something that could grow exponentially through the network effect as a platform. So when we did it, we had a lot of buzz around social media. So one of the biggest things for us, one of the masteries that our agency has done for the companies that we have now is Facebook, Instagram, marketing. Awesome. So like, that's one of the ways that we got the commotion, and we started basically some Facebook groups and such like that. And the cool thing about it is that when people heard about our platform, they were telling all their friends. So it was like a lot of word of mouth because of the excitement. And okay, so this obviously helps too. So one of the partners that we have with the company is Kevin Harrington, the original shark from Shark Tank. Awesome. So when he heard about the idea, he invited us over to his house, and I remember it so well. He's literally on the tip of his chair. So I know he's excited. Yeah. And I'm like, man, this is the original shark from Shark Tank. That's actually awesome. Excited about like what we're doing. Like, we're going in the right way. And he said, he's like, what I love about this is that I get to sit from my home in my boxers if needed. And I don't have to go and pitch. He's like, do you guys know how much travel I do, like all around the world? And if I was able just to take pitches from my home, from people from around the globe, this is amazing. Yeah. You know, so like one of the things that I would say that helped us get a lot of these people is that we had high-level investors, including like, you know, Kevin Harrington, the original Shark from Shark Tank. That helped us kind of get people excited about, wow, I might be able to pitch one of the sharks. Because he was even giving me the numbers of like, you know, how many people actually go in to try to pitch for Shark Tank, and the numbers were like 150,000 or something like that. Like it's insane. Yeah. It's like an insane number, and so little people as what is it, 8 per season or something like that, or 10 per season that get picked, and it's a rigorous process. But now, if we get, you know, 300 to 400 investors, imagine almost everyone can actually get an opportunity to pitch. You know, that's what got people excited, and it just amped up from there through Facebook ads and Instagram and word of mouth. Yeah,
I love it. You're just notice you're democratizing entrepreneurship.
Because
there is an uneven playing field in entrepreneurship.
Oh yes.
And it's a country playing field, it's an ethnic playing field, it's a gender playing field, it's age, it's pedigree, it's track record, and you're just giving everyone a shot, because the reality is none of that matters. Like none of it matters. What matters is the right person shows up with the right idea inside of the right market, and they have a good business model. Yeah. And if you can connect that person with their idea to the investor that's looking to put their money somewhere, you just democratized it. Because if without the platform, there's no way they'd find each other. What are you most excited about right now in tech? I know you're talking about the blockchain. I know you're heavily invested in many different companies, advising companies. What's the thing that excites you most right now in the space of tech?
Okay, so I can't zone it into one thing. I'm going to give you 2 things.
Sure.
Okay, so at the current moment in time, I'm heavily invested and still actually working. So despite our company getting acquired by a public company, so we were an e-commerce platform through Shopify. Yeah. And we had mass acceleration. So, you know, the public company came in, acquired us. I'm still running that company. And utilizing the technology of today through like these digital platforms and the marketing channels and stuff like that, there's a lot of technology that's coming out to help you market in ways that you've never seen before, right? So there's a lot of things in that. And simultaneously, you know, it's becoming, again, exponential with what you can do. And if you have the tools and the right skill set and know-how, you're able to do things in a big way. So what comes to mind for me is also blockchain technology. Okay, so decentralized autonomous organizations, you know, the NFTs thing, I think there's a little bit of a hype, you know, with everything that's going on, but this is here to stick. It's decentralized, it is fast, and I look forward to being able to bring in these type of different technologies, first of all, into a public vehicle, which, you know, a lot of public companies, they're not doing a lot of this. It's very rare. I think it's, you know, Michael Saylor from MicroStrategies that he's investing very heavily into Bitcoin as an investment. You know, these companies that are doing it are very small. You know, like they're not implementing these technologies, but as we see now, it's becoming a vital component of the business world. And one of the statistics that I like to bring up when people say like, you know, I'm not sure, this is a bubble, it's tulip mania. This is the future of the web. So, you know, you had Web 1, which was, you know, you put your email and your password, right? Web 2, this is a good analogy I like to make. Web 2 is Facebook, Twitter, Google, sign in, right? Web 3 is, it's your own wallet. So every time that you have your wallet, anywhere you go all over the internet, you're connected, it has your identity, it has your own money. So there's no middleman. It's you now.
Without a doubt.
You know, so it's like that's just one form of where we're at, and we're only at 1997 to 1998 levels of where the internet was with blockchain and how much it's going to do to completely disrupt the system that we're in right now.
Yeah, so I'm curious what you think about this. So there's this whole premise that just marketers ruin everything, right? So like that Web 2, like that Web 2, that social one that you're referring to was amazing until marketers got they got their hands on it, right? Like it was an amazing concept, right? Like people in college being able to connect with their peers, like our parents' generation connecting with people they went to high school with. It was like so pure, so perfect, and the marketers ruined it. And the same thing that could happen with blockchain. And one of my biggest concerns is there's so much utility behind the blockchain, yet everybody's pitching these blockchain ideas that are just like watering it down because they're like, oh, it's a
money play.
It's a money play. How do we prevent that? Because when you're thinking about blockchain, I know it's for the right purpose. It's utility. It's what it's built for. It's decentralizing. 100%. It's creating more accuracy and more protection. It's giving the power back to the people. Like it's for all the right reasons. How do we keep it that way?
That's such a good question. Like, honestly, that's such a good question because, you know, when blockchain came out and, you know, there was a bunch of token sales happening, something that I would hear from like a lot of investors and everything like that, it's like, why does this have to be on the blockchain?
Yeah, that's
like,
what
why are you even creating it on here? Why is it even on there? What is the advantage other than you trying to raise a bunch of money?
Yeah.
You know, the reality is like whenever a new technology comes out that's so audacious, they go through cycles. Yeah. Okay, so as we saw in the 1990s, right before the dot-com boom, everyone and their mom was trying to get into basically this whole tech boom, right? So very similar to that, that's what's happening right now in the crypto world. And that's why you have these cyclical cycles that continuously go into tulip mania and come down. So usually you're going to have a couple of these different crashes come in until, you know, because all the newbies are coming in. It's very exciting. But the good thing about blockchain, let's say you're saying I resonate big time with marketers ruin everything. And sometimes, for example, right now, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all these other platforms, people think they're free. They're not free.
No.
They're not free. You are basically a cattle. You are a cattle inside these systems and you don't know it. Yeah, okay, for marketers like myself, okay? We spent tens of millions of dollars on Facebook alone. Okay, so I'm utilizing the data that I'm getting from Facebook in order to market people to such a crazy degree. I was showing one of my friends yesterday.
The precision's wild.
And she was scared. Yeah. She was scared how it was. And then we're freely giving this information. And then who's making the money? Facebook.
Of course.
Blockchain, one of the things that is resolving at the time, and there's a lot of companies that are doing this, that they want to give that power to, just like that Web3, your own wallet. You go into a platform, people want to market you. Platform will get money, you get money too.
Totally, yeah.
That's not something that these other platforms want to do. They don't want to get, they're not giving you a dime other than a good experience. You know what? Yes, you're connected to people and everything like that, but you know, blockchain is going to give the power back to the people only if we basically go in that direction.
I want to emphasize this, like to the NASDAQ community, like if you have a blockchain idea, we stand for it. Like we get pitched blockchain ideas multiple times a day. So I stand for it, but like find utility. Like we get pitched like, oh, we got the best dating app in the world. It's on the blockchain. Like we have the best job placement platform in the world. It's on the blockchain. We got this new gig. It's on, but why? Like, what's the utility? Like, don't just say it because it's like the thing to say. Like, find meaningful utility in this wild positive disruption, because that's what it is. It's a wild positive disruption, but you need to find meaningful utility. What's your vision at this point? You've had so much success, so much impact, helped so many people make so much money. In theory, you can hang it up, right? Like you've had 3 exits, you've had your company get bought by a public company, you're advising, you're sought after. What's the vision for you from here?
So what's funny about this question is that this is something I've been asking myself a lot as of late, you know, and one of the biggest things for me at the current time and moment is, yes, I want to continue building projects. That's not going to stop. Like that's how I am. You know what I mean? Like I do not stop. I'm very excited about creating what I call unstoppable technologies. Okay, so like Bitcoin is unstoppable technologies and everything like that. And then simultaneously, I want to potentially acquire some companies. So our public company, you know, we recently acquired a company about 6 months ago. We're looking at acquiring more companies, potentially also one day going into the NASDAQ, which is a plan that we have.
That's awesome.
You know, we would
He's coming for you.
You know, but what's more exciting to me at the end of the day is impact.
Yeah.
So the world today is going through a huge elevation, first of all, in consciousness. And this, I call it the digital revolution. I've been talking about the digital revolution for a decade. And now as we come into it, and I'm seeing it happen so fast, it's like, it's more than I expected, faster than I expected, but this is how exponential technologies move. So I believe that we're gonna have such a grand shift in humanity. One of the missions that we have at Digital Age Business that I've implemented even to the public company that I'm still part of and everything like that is, we're here to merge the gap between technology and mankind's wisdom. One of the most important parts about that is that technology is moving so fast, wisdom is leaving man. And once wisdom leaves man, we get into an over-intellectualization, an over-civilization of society, which if you go back in history, I'm a big history buff, by the way, and if you go back to the Persian Empire, the Roman Empire, okay, to the Greeks, okay, supposedly the Atlanteans and stuff like that, you know, and that could be just theory and everything like that. But if you go back, you see these over-intellectualized civilizations fall.
Yeah.
a lot of times it's because the wisdom wasn't brought along with it. So if we don't raise the consciousness and, you know, raise the ability to have that wisdom go along with technology, with how fast it moves, we're going into a dangerous place.
100%.
So for me, I want to help bring that wisdom and good policy, you know, into the world and take us into a proper trajectory. And that's what's exciting, and supporting a lot of people filling their cups, because, you know, I've done a lot of work filling my own. I believe it's a duty, just like what you're doing right now, which that's why I got so excited about what you're doing when I heard what you're doing, because I was like, dude, you're like literally going and supporting dreams.
Yeah.
You're supporting dreams, and someone that may never get the opportunity to do something now has that opportunity to do it. And that's what excites me, to create impact in that manner.
Yeah, listen, I want to just honor you, because your wisdom in the space of what's needed for entrepreneurship is so off the charts. And I meet thought leaders, I meet people who have accomplished extraordinary things in tech and not in tech. Your wisdom, your precision around it, your precision around knowing what's needed, like what you did with this platform to connect entrepreneurs that have ideas with investors, and removing all walls, all boundaries, all limits, anything that typically stands. Like, that's what you've done. I want to acknowledge you, and I want to have you double down on it. Like, I want you to size up with it. It's one of the challenges whenever I meet entrepreneurs that are doing really big things. I'm like, just size up. Like, size up, like commit every day to being sore at the end of that day. Like the same way that when you go to the gym and you're like, I'm gonna pound it today. Like, I need to hit a different part of that muscle. It's the only way the muscle will expand. To continue to do that in the space of entrepreneurship. And I applaud you for what you've done. Listen, it is heroic what you've pulled off. The fact that you've had 28 companies, not all were successful obviously, but you were still willing to bounce back up to pursue what you're looking for, which is impact. And that is a noble mission, my friend. And for all of you here in our NASDAQ community, I appreciate you showing up and engaging with Tech Talk. We do the show for you. We do it so that you can meet entrepreneurs doing really big and audacious things, so that you can become even bigger and more audacious. We do it so we bring entrepreneurs that are doing the crazy stuff in tech to maybe stimulate an idea within yourself. Something that, like, it's there, you just didn't have the confidence to pursue it, and then you watch an episode like this and you're like, now's my time. We do it to expose you to the latest and greatest, the innovations that exist. Maybe you're looking to invest, you just don't know where. That's what the show is for. It's for you. So we hope that you enjoyed it. We hope that you benefited from it. I will see you on the next episode. Bye for now.